Hi guys, sorry that was short, but it is literally from is short, so they end kind of abruptly. Anyway, I have an exciting interview for us today. We have Angry Gay Pope with us today. How exciting is that? Let's change the background and make it the one for Angry Gay Pope. Ba, ba, ba. That is his webpage up top, angrygaypope.com. So check that out. Anyway, let's just start. Let's bring him right in. And here we go. There we have Angry Gay Pope with us today. Welcome.
Hello.
You know, I have met him, so I know he's got this reputation of being a cantankerous badass, but I actually know he's a sweetheart in real life. So I know him better than than Scientology does because they have a bad opinion about you, babe. How did Scientology come on your radar?
Well, years ago, 60 Minutes did a story about them and how evil they were. I thought, oh my gosh, that's awful. And I wasn't like protesting or anything like that. But then I crawled out of broken glass to get out of the Midwest and make it to Hollywood. And when I went walking down Hollywood Boulevard, I just saw one Scientology building after the other. And I thought, geez, if like I wasn't just one person, I'd protest them or do something because it's just so in Nazi-like or whatever. It's fascism. And
Yeah.
then when uh, the anonymous protests happened, and I wouldn't be the only one, I joined up with those. So I'm kind of like Lisa Simpson. I'm very altruistic. I don't like fascism
Yeah.
or
Crazy.
homophobia.
Yeah, crazy. Just want people to be treated fairly and with respect. That's crazy talk. I want to
At this point, I just like the drinking fountains at the Criminal Justice Center to work correctly.
priorities, right? I want to share a clip of early days that you have on your channel. Angry Gay Pope has a lot of content from the anonymous days, and it's really a valuable resource. I've been diving through your stuff. I don't know if you realize that, but I've been diving
Oh,
through
that's
your stuff
great.
and playing clips from them every week and trying to send people to your page. But here, let's see if it's sharing. Double check that. Yeah. All right. Here, we're going to play a little clip.
We are anonymous. Over the years, we have been watching you, your campaigns of misinformation, your suppression of dissent, your litigious nature. All of these things have caught our eye. With the leakage of your latest propaganda video into mainstream circulation, the extent of your malign influence over those who have come to trust you as leaders has been made clear to us. Anonymous has therefore decided.
So that was the original anonymous video, right?
Yes, that was a video that what happened was that Andrew Morton came out with a biography of Tom Cruise, and there was a lot of interest in Scientology, and it's been a long time ago, but that video came up because Anonymous was angry at the church for censoring a video of Tom Cruise that popped up, how stupid he was at a Scientology event. And Anonymous was angry that that video got taken down off the internet. And it kicked off a series of almost 3 years long of global protests against the church. And it was like nothing else at the time, because I would get up in the morning and I would turn on YouTube and I would see live streamed clips or little edited videos of protests in Australia. And as the day would go on, you would see more and more of them all over the globe. And then it would become our turn here in California, where we are like the last as the world turns to protest that kind of thing. And we have more Scientology than anywhere else in the world. So it was a really unusual global type of protest, which you have to do when you're dealing with a James Bond villain. And I have not seen anything since, except recently for the anti-Trump protests that go across the world in the same
Yeah.
manner.
Yeah, that was amazing how worldwide it was and the amount of participants that were involved with that. And you were involved from the very start, but you didn't go to the very first protest. You went to the second protest. Why didn't you
I
go
went
to
to
the
the
first one?
I was afraid I'd get shot. I thought if I'm the only one there, like they'll like step on you like a bug. But when I saw the videos and pictures of lots of people being there, I said, oh, I'm on it. I'll go.
Yeah, you were involved right
It
from the
was in
start.
March of 2008.
Yeah. He was there from the very start. Let's play another clip. This one cracks me up. It's you talking to Moxon. Let me add this back to the stage.
Kendrick
You
Moxon is their
talking-
lawyer.
yes, Kevin Moxon is Scientology
Kendrick.
lawyer. He brought you up
Kendrick.
on it. Oh, sorry, Kendrick Moxon. I don't know what
People
I
call
said.
him Rick. They don't call him Ken. They call him Rick. Rick Moxon.
Oh, makes sense. But he accused you of disseminating pornography. Let's watch a clip of that.
I don't know if that's the right video. That looks like one of
Oh,
Karen's videos.
I forgot to share the right tab. Here we go.
There's a directory on the drive that you gave us, which was full of pornographic materials, pornographic videos. It was in a recycle file. Was that an error, or did you intend to give that to us?
Everything. I deleted everything that was on that previously.
There's a whole folder full of.
I'm having the hardest time stifling laughter over here. Every time I watch you on this, it kills me. I just love how you look at ham it up to the camera and your innocent doe eyes. It kills me every time. It's so funny. Just cracks.
So they were interrogating me just as an excuse for harassment, and so I go into the deposition, which is like being in court except the judge isn't there, and my lawyer and I are there, and I said to myself, they're going to dumpster dive on this disc that I'm forced to give them of information. So like I filled it with the information they wanted and lots of pornographic or sexual images, and then I just tossed them in the wastebasket thing, knowing they are barely deleted at all. And then Moxon and his scumbags had to like trawl through it. So that's what they get for dumpster diving on my digital stuff. So once again, I saw what they were going to do ahead of time and was 2 jumps ahead.
That was hysterical.
Which is not hard because they're very predictable and they do usually according to what L. Ron Hubbard says to do.
Yeah, I'm finding that out. They really go by the playbook. The same things from these old protests that I've been watching is the same shit they're up to today. It's the same old shit, just rinse and repeat.
They'll also do the same thing over and over again. It's like expecting a different result, which is the definition of insanity. So like during the anonymous protest, there was a judge in Clearwater who had to put up with them trying to close streets and stop the protest. And he threw out one of their documents. And so they just resubmitted it by changing a comma and put it right back in again. The message being, do what we say, buddy. You're just a judge. You know what I mean? And he didn't like that. It didn't go well.
Speaking of Clearwater in early days, did you know Sean Lonsdale?
The name is familiar. I remember he was a protester at the time. Was he an ex?
No, he wasn't. He was just a Clearwater citizen who went to a city council meeting and ended up getting into an argument with them. And he decided to put his sights on them and was doing this public access.
Oh, I remember now. No, I've never met him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's no longer with us. He was unalived by.
Did he kill himself?
I seriously have doubts about that, but that's the alleged cover story.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought since you brought it up, I thought, well, maybe. Speaking of, let me go back to share screen. Speaking of council meetings, I have an example of you doing a council meeting. I gotta find the right one.
I've been to Riverside Board of Supervisors and Santa Monica City Council.
Yeah, this is the one from Santa Monica. And here we go.
Myers from West Hollywood. I'm an Emmy-winning animator and Scientology investigative journalist. I come tonight to tell you about the Delphi Academy Santa Monica at 1229 4th Street. Protesters know the Delphi schools are a cult front group, yet their website, delphisantamonica.org, claims they are a non-sectarian private school. The website is a love letter to cult founder and college dropout L. Ron Hubbard. They license Hubbard's study technology, which has gotten failed.
I love that you did this. This was awesome. We've been doing a big campaign trying to get people call into the public works meetings and the city councils around town. If you ever want to join us, we'd love to have you added to that.
Yes, they were there, and those people are mostly like they deal with like permits and stuff. One of them is a Kennedy, and they're just like they just sat there like nodding or ignoring you or whatever. It's so elitist, you know. And then eventually the school collapsed on its own, in part because of me promoting how horrible they are.
How would you explain Scientology to someone who has never heard of Scientology?
Scientology is a false religion invented by a guy named L. Ron Hubbard in the 1950s. It's a pyramid scheme where they try and get you to sign up, and then if you get people to sign up under you and take courses and buy books, you get a little cut of it. So it's not about helping people, it's about making money. And they get you in there, and then they get you to tell them your deepest secrets and the bad things you've done, and then they blackmail you with it so you can't leave.
If you could choose an ex-Scientologist that you'd really want to meet up and protest with, I know you've done everything in the world protesting wise, but if there was someone still out there that you haven't protested with, who would it be?
An ex-site. Let's see. Leah Remini has used my pictures and videos on her show, but when I criticized her on Twitter for never mentioning I exist, she blocked me. Okay.
There's been
And then Mike Rinder used my videos and pictures on his show. When my producer, Karen Delaire-Carriere, was nice enough to invite me to a public event with him, I walked up to him and I said, "Thanks for using my pictures and videos on your show." You know what he said to me? You know what he said to me?
what?
He said, "Ugh." And then he just turned around and walked away from me. He was so fucking, I mean, he was so effing choked up. These people
Yeah.
are, no, there are no ex-Scientologists I want to protest. No. And then one of them, I can't remember his name now. One of them protested with me. He did a nice job. And then like a year or two later, he was murdered invading someone's home with a hammer because he was a meth addict. No.
Deeply traumatized.
I do sometimes, but you know,
Yeah.
You can't work with them. They have a very small area of comfort.
Yeah. Let's play another. Whoop, I hit the wrong thing. Let's play another clip. This is you protesting in Hollywood, and it's right after your restraining order expired.
We're putting you on YouTube. David Miscavige beats his staff. David Miscavige locked up his own wife. Why would anyone lock up their own wife? I have a man in there vacuuming so that no one can hear me over the sound of the vacuum.
That's hysterical. I love that you have gone into so many of the orgs and you've confronted them. You've told them what's going on. What would you like to say to us?
Also, I want you to watch here. That's one of the rare points where you can actually see what I look like. I'm like the Alan Parsons Project. I'm not a narcissist. I'm not into it for me. So I'm not going to be this like talking heads sitting there all day like all those narcissists on Instagram do, sitting in their cars telling you what's what. And so the only time I really show up is in reflections, which is interesting. And then you can see what the church people see when I'm there. So, you know, when they have funny looks on their faces, it's because they have a giant Pope hat on and weird mask and things like that. Contrast that with people like Tony Ortega, Mark Bunker, Chris Shelton. These people are clearly narcissists who cannot stop looking at themselves. Tori Magoo's another one. They love to just stare at themselves on camera. Tony Ortega refers to himself as "we" on his blog. it's really silly. And I think part of the problem is that like 30 years ago, when people like Mark Bunker and Tony Ortega were protesting Scientology, most people didn't have cameras or editing equipment like Mark Bunker had. Most people didn't have the village voice like Tony Ortega had as a mouthpiece to, uh, give out their message. Now, everyone has video cameras, even on their phone, and everyone potentially has a YouTube mouthpiece. Yes, that crowds the field with a million people talking about a million different things on a million topics, but at least you have that. And at that time, it was so hard to protest Scientology that the only people who were doing it who weren't Scientologists were narcissists like Tony Ortega and Mark Bunker.
Well,
And like, go ahead.
I was going to say I can vouch for you on that fact because it took a while just to find images of you scrolling through all your videos. It was really hard finding images of you because you don't focus with the
That's
camera.
done on purpose because I like. It's like, imagine if I was a there was a TV restaurant reviewer on a local station one time in Pittsburgh called the Phantom Diner, and he wouldn't show his face. He would, because he was reviewing restaurants, and if he walked into a restaurant and he was world famous, they would treat him differently, and he couldn't review the restaurant. In the same way, I don't like wave my face around all the time because I want to walk into Scientology places or other places and like not be known. Uh, it's all done on purpose, and it makes fundraising probably harder and things like that. But it's just how I do things.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
then
Tony Ortega throws himself into the story so much that he was disrupting. Which trial was it? He was disrupting one of the women's trials because he's posting things.
one of the Jane Doe
Almost,
trials.
which
Yeah,
one?
the Jane Doe,
Yeah,
Danny
posting their
Masterson.
identities.
Yeah, Danny Masterson
Yeah, the
trial.
Danny Masterson. Yeah. He's like, oh, I just can't wait to be involved because it's about me. It's not about fighting Scientology. Mark
Yeah, they
Bunker can barely even edit a video, and it's all about him. And yet
they
these people are the go-to people that people who are making a documentary and don't know better go to for the story. At best, Tony Ortega has shown up outside of their secret vault in Twin Peaks once to yak and be on camera. When you watch my videos of the secret vault, I take you right behind the scenes, right up to the fence, trespassing to the max to get the story. I'm not the editorial desk like Tony Ortega. I'm a reporter in the field. It's not like he
yeah,
doesn't do good things, but he's motivated by narcissism.
well, yeah, because they told him things in private that he then reported on before it was revealed.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, back to what you were saying, that was a huge turning point. The anonymous days was right when YouTube was starting up, and so suddenly you were able to
Yes.
stream all of the protests, and that made a huge difference.
I never stream them because I'm not interested in being live. It has low picture quality. It's not edited. I believe that not that I'm saying your show is bad. This is like a podcast, but I believe in like making something that's worth watching 10 years from now, and it's as short as possible. And that's not what live streaming is all about. But yes, when I started, when we were doing things in 2008, YouTube didn't allow videos longer than 15 minutes. It didn't allow high definition videos. And so if you had like a 20-minute show, you had to chop it into two pieces. And they were like 640 by 480 pixels, which is like not high definition by far.
Yeah.
And everyone had different cameras that were using non-standard, like what's called codecs, which is like digital film. And so it would be a huge pain just trying to get everyone's video files to be editable. But
Sure.
fortunately, things have improved so much now.
Yeah, it's been a huge tool that protesters are using. If you had to give advice to a protester who's new, what would you tell them? What would you warn them about?
Okay, I'll give the same advice that was given to me when I joined Anonymous. Wear baggy clothing so they don't know how you're built. Cover your hair, like I use a Pope hat, so they don't know what color your hair is. wear a mask, turn off your phone, turn off Bluetooth on your phone. The best time is to protest them Thursdays at noon, because for reasons I won't go into, 2 p.m. on Thursdays is the end of their work week. And that's when all of their statistical reports are due. And so and their reports include all the protesters they've met for the week. So if you protest them on Thursday at noon, they've already filed their reports and they have to go back and refile them, or they get yelled at. And if you're not in Clearwater, parts of England, or Southern California, it can be hard to find like Scientology places to protest, and they kind of know you're coming. So if you're going to sneak in and pretend to be interested, they also know all the glasses that have hidden cameras inside them. So they have a little manual there. Watch out for people wearing these glasses. They're like, they're just, the only people that go in there are looky-loos and protesters and journalists, or people who want to use the bathroom. So you got to come up with a good excuse to be in there. Like, oh, can I use the bathroom?
Yeah, they followed you for 2 days and found an older man that you were helping through his AIDS crisis, and started harassing him.
He was my ex-boyfriend, who was a writer, bodybuilder. So he wasn't dying of AIDS. He was totally steroided out from his doctor, but he was having trouble with his computer, so I was helping him. And they followed us to Best Buy, and I was like bumped against the fender of another car while I was parking, and they're like in there going, "Oh, you horrible driver, we're going to call the police on you." And they're standing there in Best Buy with their shoulder-mounted cameras, and they were both really weird-looking old men. One of them had a Band-Aid on his face. One of those old men who always has a Band-Aid on their face, like, will that never heal? And then they thought I lived at Frank's, the elderly bodybuilder I was helping, and so they were staking out his house. And the next day, I walked to Frank's and I saw one of the guys staking me out and confronted him. And when I put him on camera, they ran away. After that, they stopped stalking me, because that's what they do. They're very cowardly. Once you call them out, then they just move on, because they know
Yeah, they
the
do
whole purpose is to frighten you.
a noisy investigation, so they want you almost to see
Yes,
them.
a noisy investigation. The point is to
Yeah.
frighten you, and when you're not frightened and you fight back, they pull back and try something else or go away.
Yeah. One of the reasons they hate you is because you've infiltrated a lot of their organizations. You've gone right in. I want to play a clip. Oop.
And these are the most important videos I do, because this locks Scientology into a time warp where people can go back and see what it was like when it existed.
Yeah, let's play a clip from that.
The church also hates how I keep infiltrating their locations and recording them surreptitiously. Places like the Pasadena Ideal Org. We visited there shortly after it opened, and the only other guest just wanted to use the bathroom.
They're going to be so pissed off that I am in here. Oh my gosh, it's the inner sanctum of the Scientology chap.
There's the bus.
I want, since we watched the thing, I want to see both of ours together so we can see where our.
It's so creepy. It's so creepy, that bust of a Hubbard.
Now, that last scene there with just people talking, that right there is like historically important, because someone like Leah Remini's guests, they do a good job of sitting on a couch saying, they tried to separate me and my husband by giving us different work schedules and things like that. Well, this video right there shows a little clip of that happening. And so it's not about people just sitting on a couch with their very legitimate sob stories. It's like watching sob stories in the making, watching the process happening, as opposed to just talking about it. And I'm one of the few people that is able to do that. And other people have followed my lead and done it themselves.
Hey, I usually give a caveat before my show that some of my people I feature might be assholes, but I'm an asshole
I
too.
only said the F word once and then I stopped.
No, 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 no. No, it's just I forgot to give my caveat. But I wanted to say I'm an asshole too, and we're all assholes. And Angry Gay Pope is an asshole, just like I am. But I adore him, so it's the best
People
kind of
say to
asshole.
me, "Why are you so angry?" It's like it's my first name. It's my job description.
Yeah, tell
You know,
people how you got that name because I know some people have speculated it was from a random name generator, but they didn't even have those back then.
no, also I have a bleeping degree in English. I can figure out a bleeping name for myself. But no, I didn't give that name, but I set myself up for it because remember that I said that Anonymous told us turn off this new thing called Bluetooth on your phone. Cover your body so they don't know if you're fat or thin. Put something over your head to hide your hair. So I went to the costume store on Melrose, which is now gone, and I looked for what I could hide my hair with, and there was an afro. And I said, that's like, could be perceived as racist. So I won't wear that. And then like 3 months later, they did a funny protest about like Will Smith and everyone wore afros. No. And then
Ooh.
there was a pirate hat. And I said, that's too much like software piracy. I won't wear that. And then 6 months later, they did a protest where everyone was supposed to wear pirate hats for the CRG
I
protest.
saw that. I went back and looked at those because I've been taking clips, like I said, from old content, and I saw
Oh,
that.
you found some of those
But
CRG protest. Yeah.
yeah,
So
the pirate thing cracked me up though because their holiday parade float is a
it is a
pirate.
pirate, yes, yes, and they're stealing money like pirates do.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
they're putting it out in your face that they're pirates.
yes, and then I saw Pope hat, and I said, "Well, that fits. I'm Catholic. I was born in a Catholic orphanage, so I wore my Pope hat and my mask and my kooky outfit, and was angry. And they said, 'Why are you so angry?' And I said, 'Because I'm gay and on psych meds, and I don't like them.' So they called me the Angry Gay Pope because I'm loud. I'm very loud.
Angry gay loud pope, but they just didn't have enough room to put all that.
And my logo wouldn't fit it.
Yeah. Who would you most like to see escape Scientology?
Well, I don't want people like Tom Cruise and others to escape. I want them to suffer. I would say anyone in the rehabilitation project force. I would like to see escape
Ooh, yeah.
Scientology. They're almost the lowest of the low slaves who cannot talk to other Scientologists, and they're being punished for existing, and they do all the dirt. It's a great way to force people to do the grunge work that people otherwise don't want to do, like cleaning the grease out of grease traps and work in the sewage room of a boat, that kind of thing.
Well, and they put them in there for fantastical reasons. I mean, some have been in for years just for holding hands with someone of the same sex. There's been people in there for years because someone else joined after them that caused problems. So they're like, oh, you pulled this in. So they're being punished for
Right.
things other people do sometimes.
Which is what North Korea does. Like, if you do this, we'll arrest your whole family.
Yeah.
And that is an excuse to. Scientology isn't a religion or a cult; it's a hate group, and so they hate the outsiders. They hate themselves even more. But they need someone to do grunt work, grunt construction work. Clean the barnacles off the side of a restaurant that's on the beach half underwater, and the waves are crashing up against you and you could die, but you got to go down there and clean the barnacles. They put people in the rehabilitation project force, as you said, for all sorts of reasons. And the longer you're in Scientology as a worker in their C organization, which is the working class, the longer you're in it, the more likely you will be RPF'd, Rehabilitation Project Forced. And then once you're in the RPF, they're going to find some other screw up that you did to extend your stay until you never get to leave. And so you're starving. You can't talk to other Scientologists. You can only talk to other RPFers, and you live in like a cardboard box in a parking garage, literally. It's a horrible existence, and there's no way you can get out of it because you have no money. You don't have a cell phone. Your relatives are sick of you now, so they don't talk to you. They're sick of your Scientology babbling, and now you're going to get it. But
It's slave
that's for
labor.
people who chose Scientology. For people who put their own children into that, and it happens like that, it's just beyond pathetic. It's disgusting. So I'd like to see any Scientologists who's in the RPF get out. They're supposed to have hit bottom and want to leave. My job is to demoralize them as a protester most of the time and make them want to hit bottom and want to leave. I don't want to save them. They're not worth saving. It's an overpopulated world and these people are so broken. They're not worth saving. Either you're going to figure out on your own you don't want this, or it's not going to matter, because a guy in a kooky pope hat isn't going to change your mind. So get them in trouble, get them hurt even more, make them want to get out. And all these people like Chris Shelton are like, well, you need to say these people. Like, I don't give a bleep about these people. They are promoting anti-gay stuff. There's like too many people in this world already. If the leader of Scientology and I are fighting over the last Doodleburger, I want him dead. I want that Doodleburger to stay alive. And yet I have entire playlists on YouTube of when I'm really nice. I've got them one-on-one, and I'm talking to them. And people like Mike Rinder would like refuse to recognize that they exist. He would just decide that I am not a good protester because he was like an incredibly screwed up person.
Yeah.
And so you can't convince people like that I'm doing the right thing, because he's self-righteous. He was so self-righteous to cover up the fact that he had people push down elevator shafts and stuff like that. He did so many horrible, evil things, and then once he gets out, he yells at me for talking loud about vaccines. You know,
Well,
you can't make.
he was in for decades, since very young, and he was the head
Yeah,
of
he was totally brainwashed from the beginning, and then
Yeah.
there was something that made him really good at being an evil jerk. So he eventually ran the Office of Special Affairs and made people's lives miserable forever. Some of the things he did still have no what's it where you could still be charged, statute of limitations, and so like to have him like be so dismissive of me every time I tried to promote him or to contact him, so dismissive and holy.
Well, he had a lot to
and then
hide.
when he met me in person, he was so choked up and starstruck and intimidated that he couldn't even speak.
You
It's
were
the
the
standard.
scary
It's the
SP.
standard thing of internet bullies that like they babble about what a jerk you are, then you meet them in person and they're terrified.
Yeah, well, you were the scary SP, and that was still ingrained in him. I
Well, he
mean,
was
for
in,
years,
yes,
he
yes.
was the head
And
of OSA.
he's used to having angry gay popes treat him like garbage, which is what David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology, is. He's the angry gay pope of Scientology.
Yeah.
So the brainwashing is so deep, you'll never get out of it. Let's say that like if you're in Scientology for 1 year, you get brainwashed, and you have to be out for 1 year to get unbrainwashed. Let's say you're in Scientology for 5 years, and that means it takes 5 years to get unbrainwashed. If you're someone like Mike Rinder, who was born in it and he was in it for like 30 or 40 years, you're not going to live long enough, and he didn't, to get unbrainwashed. So they're so hard to deal with. And I really have to give L. Ron Hubbard props. I mean, good job, L. Ron Hubbard, making these people so broke and broken. You've taken everything about them, their entire sense of self, to the point that when they do get out, they're almost completely unable to fight back. I mean, what's his name in England? He runs the protests there.
Alex, Apostate Alex.
Alex, yeah. I tried to contact him and he'll ignore me. And then I'm told that like he saw Leah Remini's show that I helped work on, which tells you that Scientology is awful. Don't touch it. And then he joined anyway. It's just idiotically nonsensical, and they are so cliquish. They are programmed to think it's us versus them. So they will like circle the wagons for any X, no matter how awful they are. And someone like me, who's mentally healthy, speaking his mind, trying to help them, even though it's been harmful to me, I could get crucified for this stuff. They still treat me like I'm the evil outside force trying to help them. And then when someone like David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology's father, leaves, he was a rapist. Okay, and he beat his family, and he beat the current leader of Scientology, who now beats other people because that's how he was raised. Did anyone make a peep about that at the time that David Miscavige's father left? No, they welcomed him with open arms, this disgusting rapist, because he left. And that's all you need to do. They're so simplistic. It's just
Well,
so broken. Leah Remini said on her show, "We are so broken." It's
yeah.
like when you see them, like when Scientology barged in on Steven Spielberg's production of War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise pressured him to put up a Scientology booth in the movie shoot, which is ridiculous, and it violates the Universal Studios rule of no religious distributions on their campus. And so while he was standing there with writer Paul Haggis, the Scientologists are coming in, and Steven Spielberg had the classic response that people have. Because he's an everyman kind of artistic guy. He senses what everyone's feeling, and he said, "Oh, they look like pretty normal people to me, I guess." And that's the experience you get when you first meet them. It's like they don't have UFOs orbiting their heads or something. They don't like seem to talk weird, but they seem like they're easy to work with or whatever. And what they're really like is, if you see a vase in a museum that's been put together out of broken pieces. Sometimes the
Yeah.
museum will leave holes where there's missing pieces so you can see how it looks. And they are like that. When you see them from up front, they just appear to have maybe a few holes missing. But if you walk around to the other side of the vase, almost all the back of it is missing. So it's like they're trying their best to put on a false front that they can handle life when it's just they can't handle life at all. Almost like an autistic person can sometimes hide their autism by behaving in certain ways. I'm not an expert on that, but I'm told that there's whole techniques that autistic people use to get around their inability to read social cues and stuff like that.
Yeah. Back to the how broken they are. Steve Hassan has said it takes on average.
Do we have only 4 hours to discuss how broken they are?
Well, he said on average it takes 12 years, which is the longest of any cult he knows.
To be
That's crazy.
unbrainwashed.
Yeah, from
So
Scientology.
he specializes in that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the
Wow. I wonder
longest
why
of any
that is.
cult he knows. Yeah.
Probably because they're the most modern and they use the most modern techniques. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Back to Mike Bunker. I mean Mike I can't get his name right now. Mike Rinder.
Try dealing with like Mike Rinder and Marty Rathbun, who were both leaving, bigwig Scientologists who left at the same time. And
Yeah.
I would protest and say, "Free Marty Rinder, free Mark Rathbun." It's like, oh, this is so
Yeah.
confusing. Go ahead.
Well, he was being the head of OSA for all those years and leaving with some
Secret
files.
police.
You can't tell me he told everything to the FBI, because if he had, he would have been imprisoned. So you can't tell me he didn't
Yeah.
hide a lot of the stuff after the fact. So I know exactly what
You
you're
have
saying.
to.
Yeah.
He was forced to. There's no other way around it.
Okay, I
Either
want
that
to
or
play.
turn state's evidence in bad.
Yeah, he should have. He should have.
Meanwhile, his there, and also when they get out, they're so used to scamming people that they're scamming each other. They go back into scamming. I think Tori Magoo worked in multi-level marketing, and Mike Rinder's wife is a doula, a midwife, someone who helps women give birth at home, which the hospitals charge a fortune, and they just want you to have a cesarean and get out. So she has a very helpful service. She, on her website, says you should eat your own placenta, pregnant women. And we can turn your placenta into little edible things so you can eat it. It's really good for you.
Well, I
And
wanted to
God.
go ahead.
Anyway. Okay, the Moscow org.
Yeah, I wanted to showcase this because you have a lot of content on your channel from like obscure resources, and they're really worth.
And I had to get them. I had to get them at the time.
Yeah, it was really great to find these, and you guys need to check out his channel to go back through this.
My library of video files is like multiple. It's like 2 terabytes, and I have 14 copies of all of it.
Well, I think my audience particularly would like to see this one, so let's play a clip.
This is the Moscow org being raided by Putin's police.
What were you saying?
This is the Moscow org being raided by Putin's police in 2011. Putin doesn't like Scientology because he wants to be the cult leader.
Yeah.
He's about to get kicked out himself, thank goodness. But he wants to be the cult leader. So he's anti-Scientology, but he likes making money. So Jeffrey Augustine of the Scientology Money Project told me that Putin actually allows Scientology to exist so he can extort them. And they have to pay him money to not be raided. And this was one of the raids they had against them in 2011. And
well,
at that time,
works perfectly for Scientology since they're all about the money.
Exactly. And this raid, they found devices like a whole bunch of hard disks that had what's called a degosser attached to them. A degosser is for bulk erasing videotapes, and it creates a gigantic vibrating magnetic field, and it erases any electronic stuff. And so the Moscow police found this device, and these hard disks had all of their critical information about who they were stealing money from and who their members were. And they could just, if the police came, they could run in there, hit a red button, bam, and all their information was instantly deleted as in an emergency. And I don't think they got away with it that time. I think the police managed to get it. It was a bad scene for Scientology.
I want to play a second more because it gets really good here.
Вот это единственный кабинет, где нет ни дверей, ни замков. Это рабочее место Рона Хаббарда, основателя Саентологии. Вообще, конечно, он здесь никогда не был.
What? Say it again.
That's L. Ron Hubbard's office in Moscow, the founder of Scientology. He's dead, but they give him an office in every.
Right. Still has a whole mansion they upkeep for him and lay his clothes out every day.
His Cabbage lives in it now, but they've got all this stuff waiting for L. Ron Hubbard when he reincarnates and comes back. But he's about as tardy as Jesus at coming back at this point.
Yeah, didn't he know the Sea Org motto? We come back.
We come back, yeah. And yet they do not have an office where people who've reincarnated can come back to them and re-enter Scientology. There's no office like that. Why is that? I mean, shouldn't there be an entire cycle, and at every stage of the cycle, they are taking care of it? Doesn't seem to be that way. It's lip service. It's lip service to reincarnation.
What's been your biggest win and your biggest regret from your activism?
My biggest win was on July 31st, 2010, which was my birthday. And protester Anon Orange said, "What are you doing today on your birthday?" And I'm like, nothing. Because like when you're a grown up and you have a good life, you don't need a reminder that you have a life. It's like every day, I live in Hollywood. Every day, I fought so hard to get to Hollywood. I've slept with 4 bodybuilders this week, you know. You don't need birthdays to have a good time unless you're 5, which is a good thing to celebrate because you survived. But so I wasn't doing anything on my birthday. And he goes, "Why don't we go to Twin Peaks, their secret base, and Pasadena, their Ideal Org, which opened like 2 weeks earlier, and check them out." So we did a great 3 videos sneaking into the Pasadena Ideal Org, interviewing these nitwits who got in trouble. Then we went out to Twin Peaks for like a second time, got more pictures of their horrible fences and stuff and security at their security bases where they keep prisoners. And then on the way back, we drove past the Scientology street where they were having a pep rally with a horse, which we completely disrupted. So we had 3 different highly successful raids in one day. Every one of them was a great video, and you couldn't ask for more. You couldn't ask for more. Regrets. That I haven't been charged a 9th time. I want to get in front of the judge. I want to get in front of the judge and make speeches now so bad. I've got all my speeches down. I just
Yeah,
know,
you're
I know,
ready.
I know just what to say. First of all, tell my lawyer to be quiet.
Yeah.
No,
So,
he needs to speak during certain times, but I'm much better. It's hello, Your Honor. I'm not just a Disney animator. I'm a Scientology protester. I am not an internet terrorist. And this is all about the real villain. And when we're in court, the real villain is the district attorney's office. The district attorney's office that lets Scientology do whatever it wants. Just like the real villain. Is the real villain in Jaws a hungry shark whose environment is being destroyed? Or is it the realtor mayor of the island who won't shut things down because he wants to make money for the summer? Is the real villain in Poltergeist demons that ask Satan for help to save them from an evil realtor who was messing with their graveyard? You know, yeah, it's the evil realtor, the enablers that are the true villains.
yeah,
Scientology does what Scientology does. Anonymous does, and Anonymous is as Anonymous was. Anonymous does what Anonymous does. But the district attorney's office could put a halt to this, but they won't because they're scared of Scientology. Scientology might kill their dog again. Scientology disrupt jury proceedings and jury. Scientology like intimidates witnesses and infiltrates internal affairs at the LAPD. So they just wish it would go away, but it won't. It won't go away. It's Scientology's gotten its butt beaten in LA from the protests in 2008, which allowed exes like Leah Remini to take charge and protest without being attacked as hard, and then videos like mine that are very aggressive protests that have inspired a lot of like crazy protesters that are not very good protesters, but there's lots of them, and they're pushing to an insane degree, motivated by fame and money that they can get on YouTube for live streaming. And that was that and COVID. So between like almost 18, 20 years in 2008, so in 2028, it'll be 20 years of anonymous versus Scientology. And when you try and protest them here in LA now, almost every place is closed. And their welcome center has doors that shut automatically with the push of a button from behind a desk.
they have a button to push to make the screens, make the windows obscured too, fogs them up or
Oh
whatever.
yes, I've heard. Yes, I've seen that go down. But I and other people have, and I just posted a video of one of the protesters. They were across the street waving at them, and she pushes the button to shut the door.
Just to clarify something, yes, Miriam, this is live. It's just I've been so interested in hearing what he has to say. I haven't been reading chat, but I just read that.
You
What
need
was
an
I gonna say?
assistant.
I know, right? Going through so much, and then I want to do questions afterwards. So let's get the last few questions. Are you still protesting?
Yes, I'm not doing it too much because there's just not enough to protest, and they have gotten my views down so low by constantly unsubscribing people from my YouTube account. Multiple people, Aaron Smith Levin and others, have complained about getting people unsubscribed from their accounts. The Scientologists either hire someone at YouTube or they infiltrate and break into the network, and they unsubscribe people from critics' accounts. People turn the bell on to be told when new uploads happen. That gets turned off. I was watching a video of a protester in Ukraine who's a very high-level Ukrainian American, and he complained that like the same thing happens to him. So Putin's doing the same thing to him that Scientology is doing to me and other protesters like Aaron Smith Levin and many others who protest, who post videos regularly.
Did you hear Aaron Smith Levin's in jail?
Yeah, he, as my lawyer said, he deserved it. Next topic, I'm going to do a video of the way to happiness, and it was very funny, especially at the end when the woman at the way to happiness is confronted. Scientology's Way to Happiness is a booklet that they make Scientologists like Leah Remini buy for like $1 a book, and it costs 5 or 10 cents to make the book. And so they force these books on them with handy hints on how to live your life, like brush your teeth and respect the religious beliefs of others, things they Well, they
Yeah,
believe in
don't
teeth
kill.
brushing. Well, Ron Hubbard didn't believe in teeth brushing, but anyway, they force people to get these books, and so I went to the Way to Happiness Foundation in Glendale, which is just this. No one visits their little museum. It's just bullshit. And
I did a
it's full.
drive-by there. My
There's
squirrels were
a
living in
woman.
Glendale.
There's a like 60-year-old woman with jet black dyed hair that sits at the front desk. I don't know what she does except wait to reincarnate. But she's going to be in trouble when this video comes out in the next month.
Good, good,
My
good.
my last major one was I came out in January and February of the New Year's event they have here. So I'm not protesting as much. I should go down sometime soon and just do a protest video at Big Blue. But there's only really one street and one location you can now protest. So I feel like Ronald Reagan without communism. But that's good. You know, we want to have these kind of problems. Scientology degenerating into a giant pile of money surrounded by lawyers. And so they can't, their ability to hurt new people has gone way down because no one's joining because of all the bad publicity, thanks to people like South Park or The Simpsons. And also publicity of people like me, Leah Remini's show, other things I've worked on like that. And so no one goes in or joins, and most of them are all closed anyway. So it's turning into just a tax dodge. Thank goodness.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have a whole website. People need to check out
AngryGayPope.com.
angrygaypope.com, and there is a ton of old photos, old clips, just historical
Documents.
data, and new stuff too. He keeps it up to date, so it's definitely worth looking at. And then, of course, he has a YouTube channel where you can go check out
Yeah,
the old content.
my third YouTube channel, and you see the warning there that these shows have been seen by millions of people, but you'd never know it. Because my channel's been taken down 3 times over nonsense and fake BS. Fortunately, now YouTube has changed its policies regarding takedowns. I think over the past 20 years, they've gotten into a nuanced field of view over groups like Scientology that push their buttons and manipulate the system. So now it's much harder to take people down. You used to have just one. If you get 3 infractions of any kind, you're taken down. Now it's like you could get 3 copyright infractions or 3 sex or violence infractions or something like that. So it's much harder for Scientology to try and take down channels now. And my channel has had to adapt. So I had to make things less properly sensational. So I had a Scientology stress test video where the camera was stuck looking at a woman's breasts for 20 minutes. So I called it Big Breast Stress Test. And during the Me Too movement, that got taken down. That was one of the things that ruined my channel. And I had another video called Scientologists Punished for Working on Sunday. I had to change the name of that to Scientologists Scientologists protested for working on Sunday. So instead of saying punished, I had to say protested, because the dumbass Sea Org people or whoever they hired to take down my channel the last time in March of 2018, they would just look at titles and say, oh, let's report that. We've spent millions of dollars on YouTube this month in advertising. They'll do what we say.
Do you think we'll ever see Shelley again?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. She knows too much. They're not going to let her go.
She's the leader of Scientology's wife. Imagine if Melania Trump just disappeared one day and everyone pretended she didn't exist, which would be a nice thing. But what if they did?
Yeah.
That's really weird. Leah Remini got like tortured for even bringing the thing up, and it cost her like $400,000 of re-education. It's nuts.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at some of the starred comments and questions here. Do you know Miriam, Scientology up north? She protests in Copenhagen, Denmark.
I have no idea, but good for her.
Yeah, she says there's still protests globally all the time. Today, T was in Australia. T is a voice down under. And soon after
That's
that,
great.
they did the protests in Copenhagen. And now it's like it would be fantastic if we could get the anonymous numbers, but even not having those numbers, it all gets live streamed. It all goes straight to YouTube. It's all
It reminds the Scientologists they're being watched.
yeah, and it's seen around the
And,
world.
and well, that's nice enough. But when people in the neighborhood where the protest is see it, and it points out Scientology to them, and the neighbors are alerted that something must be going on. Otherwise, why would those people be standing out there with signs? That's
Yeah.
another fantastic value.
Yeah, she's really good at talking to people, and she goes out there consistently. In fact, she's a big fan of yours, and she said she wants to be
Of course
next
she is.
Yeah, she wants to be next on your interview list because,
I'll have to see her the next time I'm in Copenhagen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow,
she does
getting
fantastic
to the
interviews.
San Fernando Valley is a big deal for me, though.
Yeah,
I don't think I'll
you
be
can
in
do it like
Copenhagen.
this though. Do it on screen. She's a fantastic interviewer, and she does great protests. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
good,
And then
good.
she has another
And
question
especially
here.
if she's doing it in a non-English language, that's also incredibly useful. That there be more what's called anti-Scientology propaganda, which is en theta. It's
Yeah.
en theta. And there needs to be more en theta in non-English languages, especially Spanish.
Yeah, she says it's strange that USA, a country that really historically has no class system, has such elitism. Good point, Miriam.
Yes, yes.
Here we have Rika. She's in Portland, Oregon, and protests there. She said, I wish this movement had the numbers we had in 2008. I love the anonymous protest days.
Yes.
We have Peter Anderson. That's what Mike Rinder said about a woman that Alex and Jeff met at an English org that might have gotten trouble for being nice and not knowing they were SPs. Hope she
Well,
gets in trouble.
this woman hopefully does get in trouble, and she should have known that they were protesters, suppressive persons. She should have known that, and then gone when she found out about that, and they were protesting. She should have gone back in time to before they protested, and then not talked to them. But she didn't. She refused to use her Scientology skills to go back in time and not have that happen. So she pulled that in herself. It's the classic religious technique of making people feel guilty for something that is not their fault. Like the Catholic Church tries to make you feel guilty for being gay or getting pregnant.
Rika said, I loved how Pope didn't give a single fuck about a certain protester theater artist. LOL. That was a gold star comedy. I wonder which one she's talking about.
There could be several.
It could,
Or maybe is it Streets LA? He's another one who does streaming videos where you look up his nose in the dark for 20 minutes at a time, and is totally motivated by money and fame.
I don't agree with that at all. He's such a badass. He's got fire in him, and he does a lot.
For every good video he does, that's like very educational. He'll like do this weird streamer stuff where they just like want to be the star of their own television show. I don't know. But anyway, it's very disruptive and makes buses crash. So great.
So having the L. Ron Hubbard offices and stuff, she said, Amy M says it should be like Passover when we put a cup on the Seder table for the prophet Elijah. They do treat Hubbard like he's a prophet.
Well, in this case, they used to put cigarettes on L. Ron Hubbard's desk because he loved to smoke cool cigarettes. So when he comes back from death, probably caused by smoking, he can smoke more cigarettes. I think the Jewish thing's a little classier.
Amy has a question. Do you think Audit LA is helping undo the entanglements she goes to the city council members and the public works meetings, and
is she the lady in the wheelchair?
Yes, yeah, Audit LA.
Yeah, so I don't know much about her, but she's got a checkered past, and SB Spanglish, my fellow protester who follows these things, say she's just so crazy, and like I thought she was paralyzed, but no, she just ate herself into a wheelchair. But she's apparently doing very good things, and Spanglish pointed to one of the buildings that they had to retrofit or whatever, and it was because of her that they made them retrofit. So that kind of stuff is absolutely invaluable because it gets Scientology what they do to other people. Like, oh, the IRS, we're going to sue the IRS because this fire extinguisher in an IRS building hasn't been inspected. She's doing the same thing to them. Anon Orange also did it regarding permits and stuff. And Scientology is so sleazy that they are ignorant of the things that they need to do to build a building, to keep it up, to like shut down a street. So if she's doing that stuff, that's great. But I'm not very familiar with the current protesters who constantly live stream. I will not watch live streams. I live that. I don't need to live stream it.
Yeah. Well, even people that like to watch the live streams, you just can't possibly watch them all. There's so many. But
Well, yeah,
if you
don't have Scientology around and you're interested in them and you're interested in protesting them, I'm sure live streams are fine. But it's like redundant to me. The last thing I want to see is
yeah, for your case, yeah. Haggis Basher, she protests in Toronto. She says she's agree, and she's surprised that the Latin community in LA is not being informed about the dangers of Scientology more. When you were talking about the different languages.
Yes, SP Spanglish has told me that they're actually growing in Latin America because there is no Theta in Spanish for people to read, and he's helped out a lot with getting magazines and stuff to cover this topic. And unfortunately, Mexico is a lawless place, and you can get killed as a journalist so easily, and the government doesn't care. So it's much more difficult to protest Scientology there. But they've run out of English language people to fool, and now they are trying to get other people that don't speak English to join the church. The problem is that, like, Mexico, a lot of people in Mexico don't have a lot of money, and so trying to get like Hispanics in LA to join Scientology is not very helpful to them when their main goal is to make money. And Latinos in LA don't have it, and for the most part. And I would think that in South America and Mexico, it might be the same way. But that won't stop them from trying because they have to have something to do.
Back to the Audit LA thing. When I said I do the council meeting call-ins myself, sometimes I think I mentioned that to you before. Yeah, I do that with Audit LA and Amy, Miriam, Haggis.
Constantly reminding politicians that this problem exists is so critical because they'll just ignore it otherwise because they don't want to deal with it. And there's always something in LA or elsewhere going on that's a crisis. In this case, ICE arresting people, Scientology style, one of the former mayors, their office basically told us in 2008, Scientology is a horrible problem. We hate it. But if we wanted to get rid of it, we wouldn't be able to concentrate on anything else. I don't believe that now, but that's what they said.
Well, half of my chat is part of that movement and calling in. So
that's so good. That's so good. This is a group effort.
Yeah. Rika, Jennifer, Peter, all these people have called in at least once. It's been great.
That's so wonderful to hear.
Rika was saying that, I guess I should have asked.
Rico, racketeering, influence, corrupt organizations?
Rika. She said they've made flyers in Japanese and been passing them around.
That's very good. Put them near Scientology locations. Let the neighbors know. It's all protesting is local. You want people in the neighborhood to know it's there.
Rika, I'm not going to read your placenta comments out loud. You're safe with me. So I think that's all of the starred questions I have. Let's just double check. Yeah, I think that's everything. Did you have anything else you wanted to get out that you didn't get out, you feel?
Let's see.
I know that was such a terrible question. I'm not a very good interviewer.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but we can always do another live stream.
I'd love that. And then I know Miriam has been dying to get you too, so consider that one, please. If only for me.
Sure, I work best when people come to me with their problems.
Okay, well, I'll give her your email address.
That's why I'm the Pope.
Yeah, it is
Father,
on his
Daddy.
webpage too at angrypope.com.
I don't
You
look
can-
like I don't look like I'm 60, but I am.
Yeah, he just turned 60 over the summer. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for all your support.
Thanks everyone for listening or watching.
Oh, thank you for coming.
I appreciate the work you're doing so much. So much.
Thank you. We appreciate you, babe. And thank you again so much for coming. I'll see you soon, hopefully.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks for having me on, Mama Squirrel.
Bye.
Have more squirrel babies or whatever squirrels do.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.